The solar eclipse on April 8th is becoming a major event. The National Guard is being deployed, and the people are being advised to have 2 weeks of food and to fill their fuel tanks. This could all be explained due to the fact that tens of thousands of visitors are expected along the path of totality. But many people believe that they could be preparing for possible earthquakes due to the Devil Comet aligning with the April 8th eclipse, and due to the fact that in 1811, a comet also appeared in the skies during a solar eclipse on the same path and was followed by the biggest earthquakes in American history.
A major earthquake has struck off the coast of southwestern Japan. It's a magnitude 7.5.
All right, just want to bring you an update on the earthquake near Taiwan. 7.5 magnitude earthquake. It happened at 21 kilometers southeast of Hualien City in Taiwan. This is according to the U.S. Geological Survey. Very strong shaking at magnitude of that strength. That was felt widely in the Taiwanese capital, Taipei. Now, a tsunami warning has also been issued for a number of those small Japanese islands that you see there just to the northeast of Taiwan. Also a tsunami warning for Japan's Okinawa prefecture. Local residents told to evacuate, and tsunami waves as high as 3 meters are being potentially forecast.
Known as the New Madrid earthquakes, around 10,000 earthquakes occurred in just 3 months' time, the biggest being measured at 8.8 magnitude. They were the most devastating series of earthquakes in recorded history. This eclipse season is, however, a very rare event. The recent eclipses in August of 2017 and October of 2023, along with the upcoming one on April 8th, forms an Aleph and a Tav over the United States. The Aleph and Tav are the first and last letters of the Hebrew alphabet, the Alpha and Omega, the beginning and the end. These eclipses mark the end of the Great Year, a 26,000-year period that starts anew with the dawning of Aquarius and a new golden age. Manly P. Hall wrote that high-level Masons designed America for a peculiar and particular purpose, a secret destiny to bring about a new Atlantis, or a new world order, wherein a king descended of a divine race will rule over all. In rituals, this king is symbolized as Apollo, Horus, or Nimrod, the father of Freemasonry, and is thought to be a descendant of the biblical Nephilim, or the Sumerian Anunnaki. According to Thomas Horn, this will happen in 2025, which corresponds to several documents published by intelligence agencies, such as Global Governance 2025, Global Trends 2025, and the 2025 Deagle Forecast on World Population. NASA is notorious for performing Masonic rituals based on the Egyptian mystery schools, Apollo being the same character as Horus, Sirius representing Isis, and Atlantis being the new golden age they hope to restore. And during the eclipse on April 8th, NASA will fire 3 rockets named after Apep, the Egyptian serpent god, whose goal was to devour Ra, the sun. And when the sun reemerges after 3 minutes of darkness, it will be likened to the rebirth of Horus, their new king of the Golden Age. CERN, known for practicing occult rituals at a statue of Shiva, the Hindu god who symbolizes death, destruction, and the end of an age, will be firing up their Large Hadron Collider to full power during the solar eclipse. And Israel, who is in the midst of committing genocide, is preparing to sacrifice a red heifer, a ritual sacrifice to prepare them for taking back the Temple Mount.
Red heifers, to be precise. Some Jews and Christians believe they're the key to rebuilding the historic Jewish temple in Jerusalem and to beckoning the Messiah. To understand, you have to go back nearly 2,000 years when the ancient Romans destroyed the last temple in the city. To rebuild it, these believers point to the Bible's book of Numbers. It commands the Israelites to sacrifice a red heifer without defect or blemish, and that has never been under a yoke. Only then can the temple rise again. Those sacred cows were showcased in Washington at a recent prayer gathering. Many evangelicals believe these red heifers will usher Christ's second coming.
And we need the Messiah to come, right? So for me, the red heifer, it's red for the blood of Jesus Christ.
A massive altar already awaits, where the heifers are to be burned. According to some believers, the ceremony needs to be performed right here on the Mount of Olives, looking directly into where the temple once stood. But something else now stands in its place.
Once they forcibly take the Temple Mount away from billions of Muslims worldwide, it will predictably thrust the world into the peak of chaos that these secret societies have been designing for centuries. And their plan is to bring order out of this chaos, with their divine king to rule over the world. But these are just rituals, and fear is an illusion. We can always choose love.
New at 6, a swarm of earthquakes continues to shake parts of the South Bay. At least 39 quakes have rattled an area near Hollister since Sunday. The biggest quake happened yesterday with a magnitude 4.2. Meanwhile, a new study says there might be a link between earthquakes, the moon, and sun.
I use the Hebrew calendar, okay? On the Hebrew calendar, April 8th is the last day of the year. The new moon of Aries is the first month of the year, actually. In the people think Rosh Hashanah is the Jewish New Year, but actually the first month in the calendar is Aries, Nisan, and that's on April 8th. So for them, it's their chance to inject the energy they want for the new year. If you look at a bunch of astrologers across different fields of astrology, they're all saying the energy is shifting. So the globalists, obviously, they want to make a big push for evil, negative energy in the new year. What do? Destabilize, make people afraid, and because April 8th is this day they're freaking out about. It's the last day of the year. That's the day that you can inject energy for the new year. They want to, like, if you look at it, all the NFL drafts, the NBA drafts, they're usually on the new moon or the full moon of various months in the Hebrew calendar. So these high-level people, they know what they're doing. They use these dates. If you look at a bunch of astrologers across different fields of astrology, they're all saying the energy is shifting. So the globalists, obviously, they want to make a big push for evil, negative energy in the new year. What do? Destabilize, make people afraid, because that's what they want to push into the new year. So any kind of crisis or fear they want people to have on April 8th, it's because they all have powerful energy. And so for the globalists, they know they want to inject the seed of every new year with negativity, because that's what they harvest. They want to take all of our energy, so they have to implant us with any kind of negativity they can. So absolutely, they are very aware of the astrology. You know, in the newspapers, they put nonsense horoscopes to make it look like childish or foolish to people. But then at the very highest levels, they know exactly what this stuff is used for. Okay, let me reference John Dutoit. I don't know if you know him, you should. He's the director of Hoaxed, great documentary. He went and filmed you. He's a total genius too, and he said that this year, talking about 2024, not the Hebrew calendar like I am, but this guy senses the energy, he reads the signs, and he said, like, this year is a year for karma. And I see all the signs of it. I see it too. The karmic debt is coming due for so many people. This can be a great year of revelation, of great change, of great things happening. I'm seeing it in so many different ways. So they're afraid of this for sure, because if everybody sees who they are, everybody's going to want to, let's say, lock them up. Let's be nice. Everyone's going to want to lock them up at the very least. So they're deathly afraid of this, and we should all be very happy and very positive. This can be the best year we've ever had.
That said, why has Homeland Security been preparing to hijack this biblical event?
The sheriff called me yesterday, and after he got done telling me everything inside this meeting that was happening, I pretty much was nerve-rattled after what I heard. Who is this meeting with? It's with Homeland Security.
People want to do us harm. Use an event like this, where a lot of people are gathered, to do some type of terror event.
The director of the Lake County Emergency Management Agency told me they've been preparing for the solar eclipse now for about 2 years.
They've been preparing for this for 2 years. Imagine that, for 2 years. He said, during the solar eclipse, while people are all out there looking, they're planning, the intel that they've got is a possible biological attack on people while the solar eclipse is freaking happening.
Like, here's from Kenton County Homeland Security and Emergency Management. Here's what you should do before. Ensure you have a full gas tank. Ensure you're stocked on groceries. Have alternative communications for an eclipse that's going to last about an hour. And here's another one. Buy necessary groceries and gas. Expect heavy traffic and long lines for local services.
Oklahoma, the National Guard will have guardsmen present for the total solar eclipse on April 8th. Communication facilities could become overloaded, possibly making cell phone calls difficult. The 22 members of an elite chemical, biological, and radiological and nuclear unit will be housed in Broken Bow, in addition to up to 110 to 150 Oklahoma Highway Patrol troopers. There will be about 150 other first responders and volunteers, with many staying at either the sports complex in Broken Bow or in Idabel.
Monday, April 8th, 2024, a total solar eclipse will shadow North America, crossing Mexico, the United States, and Canada, passing over 8 United States cities named Nineveh, drawing a myriad of similarities to the Syrian eclipse that occurred during the time when Jonah approached Nineveh and urged the Assyrian people to repent. Mathematically speaking, the astronomy of an eclipse is a miracle.
The sun is 400 times further from the earth than the moon. The sun is 400 times larger than the moon. And because of that, we can have an eclipse that God created as signs, which is why we come to the letter Tav, which means a sign or a mark, and its numerical value is 400. Do you get it?
Confronted by a new world order and a U.S. president that is carrying out their silent, we are living in a time of reckoning, and through signs, God is speaking directly to those with ears to listen.
In Genesis 1:14, God declared the sun and the moon were for signs.
Right.
The only signs they can give is eclipses. All right? And the nice thing about eclipses, no false prophet can manipulate it. Solar eclipse means judgment is coming upon a nation. Since we become a nation in 1776, there has only been 8 total solar eclipses that have completely crossed the United States. 2 of them occurred during the Revolutionary. 3 of them occurred during the Civil. 2 of them occurred during the Vietnam. Of those 8, only 1, which was the one 7 years ago, it only crossed the United States and no other country.
Exodus 4:8. Remember, April 8th. If they do not believe the first sign, which was on August 21st, 2017, they will believe the second sign.